Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we'll step into that world from a developer's perspective. Using C# and NXOpen, you'll learn how to reach into an assembly programmatically, fetch its components, and begin interacting with them just as NX itself does. Whether you're building a custom tool, automating repetitive tasks, or preparing data for downstream processes, mastering component retrieval is the first step toward bending NX to your will. Let's start by exploring how NX represents assemblies internally and how your code can walk through that structure with confidence. We will then do a step-by-step application to randomly change the colors of all components of an assembly and subassemblies. I strongly recommend that you follow the series of tutorials on part automation with NXOpen before starting the assemblies automation. Let's start by creating a new project in Visual Studio. For this, we will use the template we created in the tutorial configuring Visual Studio for NXOpen C#. Give your project a name and location. Then click on Create. Make sure you have the NXOpen library references. Okay, that's fine. Everything is in order. In Siemens NX, I have a clamping vise assembly. This assembly contains parts. For now, all the parts are on the same level. I don't have any subassembly. For the first step, we will go through the tree and retrieve the names of the parts. In Visual Studio, the first thing to do is to import the namespace NXOpen assemblies to avoid having to write the full name everywhere. Then we will retrieve the main assembly. We can do it with the root component method of the component assembly class, which is accessible from our workpart variable. This method returns a component object that we will call root. Then we will use the listing window class to display our result in NX. Inside the try bracket, we have to open the console to be able to write inside. On the first line of the output window, we will write the name of the assembly. We get it with the displayName property of our root object. With the root object, we can retrieve all child components, thanks to the getChildren method. We are going to create a for each loop to go through all these children. With NXOpen, a part or subassembly present in an assembly is called a component. I will use the term part to define the part itself and component to define its occurrence in the assembly. Finally, let's write the name in the console, this time retrieving the component's displayName. It's time to save our project and build the solution. In the output window, copy the generated DLL path. In NX, to run a DLL, go to the File menu, then execute an NXOpen, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+U. Paste the path to the DLL, and then click OK. The listing window appears. We have the name of our assembly as well as all the components present in it. Well done. Now I'm going to close this assembly and open another. This new assembly is almost identical. The only thing that differs is that I have a subassembly inside called crank. If I run my DLL again, you can see that the subassembly crank is indeed present, but the elements that make it up are not listed. The next step is to retrieve all items regardless of level. We will create a recursive function to do this. Create a getRecursive component function. This function will have two parameters, the component and the level, as an integer. You can cut and paste the for each loop present in the main method. I will create a character string for the indentation. For each level, I will put two white spaces before displaying the name of the component. For the display, I will enter my indentation variable and the component's name. I will use the string interpolation method. The listing window class is not accessible in our function. It must be declared outside the main method. Let's check if our component has children. That is to say, if this is subassembly. If it is, we will call the function itself by incrementing the level. The last thing to do is to call our function in the main method by passing our root object and level 0 as arguments. Save and build the solution. In NX, execute the solution with the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+U. Now we have the subassembly with these components. Our indentation works well. For the rest, we're going to do something more interesting. We will create an app to change the colors of components in NX. These colors will be applied randomly. Before diving into the code, I will show you how to manage its colors in NX. Each color has a specific ID. You will notice that the first color is white with identifier 1, and the last one is black with identifier 216. We will have to generate random colors in the range 1 to 216. By default, assembly components inherit the color of the part. But it is entirely possible to change the colors individually in the assembly without affecting the part. This is the principle of overriding. To delete the overriding, simply click on the part, then Properties, and uncheck the specific component color checkbox. It is also possible to change the color of the part directly in the assembly. In this case, the color must be applied to the component body. We will look at both cases, but we will start with overriding, that is to say, applying the colors at the assembly level without affecting the parts. Well, let's create a new function for the color. Let's name it changeComponentColor. This function will also take two parameters, the component and the color. For the color, we will use a random object. We can copy the loop from our previous function. To work with colors, we need to create a display modification object. I will apply the false value to the applyToOnInParts property. It's the default value, just to be sure. Now, we need to create a color. With the random object, we can randomly generate an integer between 1 and 216 with the next method. I will set the value 217 to the maximum. Otherwise, the value 216 will not be taken into account. In the main method, comment or delete the call to the recursive component function. We will not use it. Let's initialize the random object. Then call our new function with these arguments. We must use the apply method of our display modification object, but this method wants an array of type displayable object. If I look at the component class, by chance this class inherits from the displayable object class. I don't need to do any conversion, but I still must pass an array and not the component directly. So, I'm going to create a single element array and apply my component to the first and only element of this array. So finally, I can pass my array as an argument to the apply method. Then you need to release the display modification object with the dispose method. Let's clean up the unnecessary code. Modify the function and second argument. We no longer need the listing window. Save and build the solution. Let's test our application in NX. Magnifique, it works. The parts did not change color. Neither is the subassembly. That's what we wanted. I will remove the colors for the rest of the tutorial. We will now change the colors of the parts from assembly. It's a bit more complicated, but let's go. To do this, I will create a new function that I will call changePartsColor, which will take the same parameters as the changeComponentColor function. Add comments to the functions. Copy the function code, change component color. To change the color of the part, you must access it from the instance in the assembly, that is, its component. We can do this using the component's prototype property. The prototype is the original part file from which a component occurrence in an assembly is derived. It gives you access to the actual part data, geometry, expressions, features, not the occurrence inside the assembly. This property returns an NX object, so you have to make a conversion. Then, we need to check that our part object is not null. We can now get the bodies from our part object. As I showed you earlier in NX, to change the color of a part, you have to change the color of the body. A part can contain several bodies, which is why we will store the information in an array. We will set a condition to test if the array is not empty. We can move the following code inside our condition, but we must change the apply to owning parts value to true. You can also move calls to the apply and dispose functions. Finally, we can directly put our bodies array in the apply function parameter. A body class inherits the displayable object class. It is therefore not necessary to make a conversion. We can delete this code. It is not necessary. I think our function is almost finished. Oh, we need to change the call to the recursive function. And also in the main method. I think it's a good idea to place an undo mark in order to cancel our color change. I have already explained this procedure previously in a tutorial. I will not go back over the subject. Okay, our program is over. We can save and build the solution. In NX, execute the solution using the shortcut Ctrl+U. Fine, the colors has changed. Let's test our undo mark. It works too. Let's run it again to see if the color of the parts will change. Wonderful, everything is going as planned. There you go. That's the end of this tutorial. You now have two functions. One to change the colors only in the assembly. The other to change the colors of the parts that make up the assembly. If you like this tutorial, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and add a like to this video. Thank you for watching. See you soon in a new tutorial.